one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Kelly, a roll call the commission, please.
Here.
Here? Here.
I am in the building.
Here.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. We're only missing Mr. Nail tonight. Next is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any corrections to this?
Yes,
Yes?
Mr. Chairman. Under business items E, Costco, 7E.
Mhm.
We would change in the parcel number.
Parcel number is incorrect.
And what is the correct
What is it? Do you
number?
have
What
it?
is the new parcel number?
I have 4147-300-074. The next one is 4147-05300-076. And finally, 4147-05-300-040.
Okay, very good.
It appears
I'm
that
confused on that because those don't match up anywhere close to our township.
Where'd you get those, Mr. J?
4716.
Right.
Oh.
County is 4716 is right now.
He said 4147.
6 for all.
Okay, but it's parcel 074, 76, and 44.
7476 and 040.
Okay,
Okay.
good enough.
All right.
and it appears that the parcel numbers
No,
for
I'm-
items C and D are the same,
It is the same.
Yeah.
which I
Location.
don't think it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It is.
Oh, yes.
Two different items.
Sorry,
It's for the
sorry.
same thing.
Site plan and
Yes.
then special
Well,
approval.
not the same thing. but
All right, are there any other corrections? Motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Approval of the agenda. Thank you, Dwayne, for that, noticing that. Next is approval of the January 16, 2025 meeting minutes. Did anyone have any corrections on that?
I forgot to send one minor correction in on line 74. Rant should probably be ran. And I apologize for not sending that out. I forgot.
Did he rant a bit? Johnny might have he might have ranted somewhat, but he ranted.
He never did, never.
I don't think so.
Never, the entire time he was open.
Okay. With that correction, any others?
No, sorry.
Motion?
Go ahead.
Motion to approve meeting minutes of January 16th, 2025 with minor correction.
Support.
We have support, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? None? Motion carries, meeting minutes approved. Call to the public, limited to agenda items only tonight. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to comment upon? There will also be time at the end of the meeting if you'd like. Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on. Business item 7A. Recommend approval or denial to the Township Board for R01-2025 rezoning request from Johnny Yono on parcel 4716-21-200-013. The parcel is zoned local business, and the applicant is requesting the property be rezoned to residential single-family R2. The address is 10983 Silver Lake Road, Brighton, Michigan, 48116. So we were just over this a few weeks ago. Michelle, do you have anything additional to add? Or we can start from the beginning lightly. Recap, how about?
I'll do a recap, sure.
recap.
So the applicant is requesting a rezoning from local business to single-family residential. Their site currently has a party store and a single-family house on the property. They have indicated that they want to pursue a lot split along with the rezoning. Only 2 parcels could fit on this parent parcel under the R2 single-family residential zoning. However, it's not a conditional rezoning, so that, the intention to split it is unrelated to the rezoning, even though it's good to
Correct.
know that there can only be 2. The single-family residences aren't permitted in the LB district, so that means the existing house is a legal nonconformity. Rezoning to R2 would bring it into conformity with the uses that are permitted in that zoning district. The future land use for this parcel is designated for local commercial, so that conflicts with the intended rezoning district. However, a lot of the surrounding uses are, or a lot of the surrounding parcels are both used and planned for residential uses. There are findings for rezoning. You should discuss all of them. If you find that some aren't met by this request, whatever motion is made should acknowledge that even though it's not supported in this one standard, you're looking to the other standards, and that would be why you would issue a rezoning, whether it's one way or another. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Then, you can either go through the findings for rezoning and ask commissioners to input. How about if we do it that way? All right, so there are A, B, C, D, E, F, G conditions for rezoning. So A is whether the rezoning is consistent with the policies and uses proposed for that area in the township's master land use plan. So on that subject, what do we have? Larry, you want to comment?
The master plan calls for local business in this very small section. We believe that it was master planned that way to align with what is currently in that location. There are 3 parcels that are set up as local business to the, well, I don't know if my directions are gonna be right. I believe it's to the north, to the east, and to the south are currently used for residential uses, which aligns with the master plan. Directly to the remaining direction,
West?
west, thanks, is local business. There is one other local business in that area. But it does seem that it'll fit within this area. It is not much of a leap to just extend the residential boundaries for this one lot.
Yes. Was that all your thoughts for that subject?
Yes.
Dwayne?
Typically, I would default to the master plan. I think, to Larry's comments, the adjustments were made many, many years ago to accommodate, well, what was already on the site. In this particular case, I live very close to that area, and I see residential as a better use on a long-term basis of this parcel. So I would be an advocate for making the exception and not trying to change precedent or initiate a precedent with the master plan, but in this case, I think it's appropriate.
Thank you. Sarah?
Actually, I agree with Dwayne. I normally, we make the master plan as our guidebook, and I normally would go with that, but in this case, and listening to Mr. Ono last week, that the commercial was not viable anymore there, and we did make it so that, because it's been there for so long, that's what we did. So yes, I would be in favor of saying residential.
Thank you. Audrey, what do you think?
I was in agreement after listening to Mr. Yono and a family member that also is on the property and keeping it within the family and letting it go residential.
Michael?
Well, I concur with all the statements so far, and master plan is just that, a plan. It can be adjusted. I have history on this property going back into the 80s. And yeah, it was master planned to accommodate what was already there when we were an unzoned community. So this changeover to R2 is wholly appropriate.
Okay, very good. Then we're all in agreement that, yes, it goes against the master land use plan. However, it seems to fit all right, especially in this instance. Item B, whether all uses allowed under the proposed rezoning would be compatible with other zones and uses in the surrounding area. We've already pretty much said that.
We have all said that, yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? No? Item C, whether any public services and facilities would be significantly adversely impacted by development or use allowed under the requested zoning. The site is not located within a wellhead protection area nor within a district served by public utilities, on-site water and septic. If land divisions are proposed, each site would need to provide for well and septic on site. So any other thoughts there?
In addition to that, traffic entering and leaving Silver Lake Road to access the property would be reduced as a result of not having a business at that location, so it would actually
Correct.
improve the traffic in that area.
Sure. Whether the uses allowed under the proposed rezoning would be equally or better suited to the area than uses allowed under the land's current zoning. Well, we've already determined that, haven't we? So, okay. Whether the condition and/or value of property in the township or in adjacent communities would be significantly adversely impacted by development or use allowed under the requested zoning. The site does not have the potential to significantly adversely impact the township as a whole or adjacent communities based upon the proposed zoning is Carlisle Workman's assessment, and I concur. Anybody else? F, whether or not the requested zoning change is justified by a change in conditions since the original ordinance was adopted or by an error in the original ordinance. I think we've determined that also.
I would just like to add, and I think it's important that we get this in the record, that I believe that there have been a change in the conditions in that our zoning ordinances that have now been put in place will significantly increase the cost to renovate this piece of property in order to meet our zoning standards, which were not in effect when this was originally put in place. And
You mean
apparently,
to continue a business?
to continue a business there, they would then have to upgrade it in order to meet our current zoning ordinances, and we've heard estimates that it could be upwards of $1 million to actually get that compliant. And I think that's just unreasonable to expect a business that would have to be that small to be able to expend that kind of money to upgrade it. So I think the residential does make sense as well.
Okay. Finally, G, whether precedents might result from approval or denial of the petition and the possible effects of such precedents. It is inconsistent with the master plan. A negative precedent could be set if rezoning were approved without specific justification being made during the discussion of the findings for this petition. I think we've found specific justification. Does anyone not? Then I think we're all in agreement. So how about a motion?
I will make a motion to recommend approval to the Township Board for the rezoning request of R01-2025 from Mr. Johnny Yono to rezone parcel number 4716-21-200-13 from local business to residential single-family R2 based on the following findings. And I'll just read through these, and this is typed up, Kelly, so we can make sure you've got that. The uses allowed under the R2 zoning district would be compatible with other zones and uses in the surrounding area. The site would be served adequately by public services. The uses allowed under the R2 zoning district would be equally or better suited to the area than the uses allowed under the LB zoning district. The condition or value of the property in the township or in adjacent communities would not be significantly adversely impacted by a development or a use allowed under the R2 zoning district. And there is a greater demand for housing in the area than when the zoning map was adopted.
Do we have support? Sarah, support? Roll call vote. Kelly, please.
Yes.
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 Motion approved.
Excellent.
Next item of business. Thank you, Mr. Yono, for your years in business.
Thank you.
Good luck. Business item 7B, recommend approval or denial to the Township Board for R02-2025 rezoning request from Pleasant Valley Investments on parcel number 4716-03-201-013. The parcel is zoned general business, and the applicant is requesting the property to be rezoned limited industrial. Michelle, go to
Yep.
you again, please, for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll similarly do a quick overview since we had this public hearing and a presentation from the applicant at the last meeting. This is not a conditional rezoning request, but the applicant has indicated that they intend to develop a recreational vehicle storage facility. However, any use that is permitted in LI would be permitted with any such rezoning. So don't really think about that.
Not to be taken into account. We have no site plans yet.
Exactly. The property is currently almost completely wooded. The future land use designation for this parcel is split. It's general commercial and limited industrial. So it's kind of consistent, kind of not. The surrounding future land uses for the area vary from limited industrial to commercial, and it's also in Brighton Township, research and development, which is similar to our limited industrial designation. So the uses aren't, or the proposed zoning district is not entirely inconsistent with the surrounding or with the future land use designation. There are similarly findings that should be discussed. There's some suggestions there, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Minor, do you have anything to add?
We have no comments on this proposed zoning.
Okay. Then we'll do the same thing. We'll go through the findings for rezoning. So, A, whether the rezoning is consistent with the policies and uses proposed for that area in the township's master land use plan. Areas to the west, north, south, and east are all planned for the same uses that they are currently zoned for, but this one designates half the parcels as general commercial, not limited industrial. Properties to the east are planned, used, and zoned for limited industrial. Properties across, all right, let's start the other end. Michael, what do you think about,
I've been working with the applicant on this 3 years. 3 years. When he first came to us and asked to be able to do this, he didn't meet the requirements of the acreage that he was going to be required to have this. But they also owned the property that the 7-Eleven is on, which had an excess of property. So they worked out with, obviously they owned, to transfer enough property to get to the 5 acres. And also, the nice part is it would provide an entrance off of Pleasant Valley as well. The need for this type of facility is apparent in the north end of the township. There is nothing at the north end of the township. There is on the west and south and east. The applicant, as far as I've seen, has been willing to work with us in all ways. I see this as a smart move on the board's part to fill a vacant piece of property, bring in additional revenue to the township, and provide a service to the township residents, which would eliminate storing of boats, trailers, et cetera, in the subdivisions. So, I'm good with it.
pardon me, all right. Audrey, do you have anything to add? Thoughts on the subject?
I'm in total agreement with everything that Michael has said and with the storage of outdoor recreational vehicles at an off-site property rather than in subdivisions, because it does become a problem.
It does.
With subdivision rules that either are written or not written.
Sure.
So it's better to have an off-site property.
Mary?
May I interject, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
I just want to make sure that the discussion is focused on limited
Yeah,
industrial
we
overall and not as any
It's nice
specific
if they have a
use.
storage facility later on, but again, we've seen no site plans, so we can't, that's really neither here nor there.
Okay.
But,
The usage.
It's a wise move to move it to a limited industrial with the uses that it would provide. I amend my statement.
and you,
I agree
Audrey?
with your amendment.
Larry?
I have a vision of your amendment.
I agree with the comment so far, with the plot, with the piece of property having been split in half master plan for light industry and half master plan for general business, and now that it's one piece, we've got to move that boundary one way or the other. And it makes more,
Yeah.
to me, it makes more sense to align with the limited industry that is along Grand River as it travels east.
Okay. Sarah?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think that the limited industrial is way better. It fits in there, it all aligns.
Mr. Jenke?
So knowing who the neighbors are, I think, clearly we always want to take that into account. Gas station to the west, wastewater treatment plant to the north, and the neighbors to the immediate east, of course, and they're on frontage of Grand River. So we have a major highway that can clearly handle traffic, egress, ingress. I'm an advocate for this type of parcel. I think that's conducive to that zoning, the LI zoning.
All right, very good. We'll move on to item B. Whether all the uses allowed under the proposed rezoning would be compatible with other zones and uses in the surrounding areas. Light industrial uses, compatible with property to the east, not to the south, not to the west. The west is general commercial. Bright Township, obviously, north, or planned for research and development. Wastewater treatment plant is unlikely to develop in the future, two different. Anybody have any problems with that? It would be compatible with other zones in the surrounding area.
Correct.
Whether any public services and facilities, item C, whether any public services and facilities would be significantly adversely impacted by development or use allowed under the requested rezoning. The site is completely located with wellhead protection area within a district not served by public utilities. It's served by on-site water and septic. Should be served adequately by public services. Anyone?
However,
However,
if they so choose, they could have the water from Fib extended to them.
from the wastewater treatment plant.
Well,
Oh, you mean freshwater?
From the.
Freshwater.
Fib.
Well, they could flush it.
They could also, because of the location, tie into the wastewater treatment plant. So, I mean, they have the ability to obtain
choose
both
to.
of them.
To obtain it, okay. Item D, whether the uses allowed under the proposed rezoning would be equally or better suited to the area than uses allowed under the land's current zoning. General business uses intended to serve local residences by offering both convenience and comparison goods and services. There are 5 areas in the township with the general business zoning designation. Many more areas of the township have light industrial zoning designation. So therefore, the general business designation is fitting for this being location on a major roadway. However, we're also saying that it's split in half like that, and it's got to get changed one way or the other, so. Any other comments on that? E, whether the condition and/or value of property in the township or in adjacent communities would be significantly adversely impacted by development or use allowed under the requested zoning. I don't see that it has potential to do any of that. No? F, whether or not the requested zoning change is justified by a change in conditions since the original ordinance was adopted or by an error in the original ordinance. There have not been substantial condition changes or ordinances errors that justified the rezoning from general business to light industrial. So there's nothing like, let's say in Mr. Yono's circumstance where the zoning was enacted for that reason. And whether precedents might result from approval or denial of the petition and the possible effects of such precedents. Proposed rezoning of this parcel is not entirely inconsistent with master plan policies because the parcel has a split future land use designation. A negative precedent would not be set if the rezoning were to be approved. So does anyone else have any other comments, suggestions, ideas?
Make a motion if the board is open to it.
Good, go ahead.
Motion to recommend approval to the Township Board of Rezoning Request R 02-2025 to rezone parcel 4716-03-201-013 from general business to light limited industrial based on the following findings. The rezoning is consistent with the policies and uses proposed for the area in the township's master land use plan. The uses allowed under the LI zoning district would be compatible with other zones and uses in the surrounding area. The site would be served adequately by public services. The uses allowed under LI zoning district would be equally or better suited to the area than the uses allowed under the GB zoning district. The condition or value of the property in the township or in adjacent communities would not be significantly adversely impacted by a development or use allowed under the LI zoning district.
Very good. Do we have support?
Support.
Larry? A roll call vote, please. Kelly?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
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 All right. Motion passes. We're on to the next.
Rock and roll.
Business item 7C, approval or denial on site plan approval SP 01-2025, parcel number 4716-08-100-022. For U-Haul Americo Real Estate Company, the property is zoned limited industrial. The parcel is 9.77 acres. Ms. Marin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does it work for you if I address business items C and D together? They're both for U-Haul, one for the site plan approval, one for the special land use.
Yes, it works. We shall treat each as separate motions, but yes, please.
Perfect.
You can speak to both.
There was the public hearing for this back in September. Since then, the applicant has provided, and with several revisions, a site plan. They're applying for the special approval use for the truck and trailer rental facility, as well as a recreational vehicle storage yard. Both of those are special uses in the LI district. They are also proposing mini storage and retail sales, which are permitted uses. However, there are special provisions that must be met for mini storage, as we are well familiar with. The site is currently vacant. It's almost completely wooded with deciduous trees. The applicant is proposing 2 larger buildings and then 4 mini storage buildings. The latest site plan revision added a 4th one, so that's a little bit of a revision from the review that you had before you. There are paved surfaces around the facility, as well as 2 stormwater management basins. The applicant has indicated that they're pursuing 2 deviations that would require planning commission approval, and 1 variance that would require approval, of course, from the zoning board of appeals. The deviations that they're requesting are from the 6-foot berm that's required around the perimeter. It could be fence, a berm, or any other appropriate landscaping method, and that's where you all come into play, is what they're proposing. So is it okay with you? The other deviation that they're requesting is the exterior walls. There is not masonry construction along the exterior walls. That's a requirement, both of all buildings in the industrial district, as well as for the mini storage facilities in general. So that, in 2 places of the ordinance, that's required. There are 94 parking spaces that are required based on the use that's being proposed, and a variance would have to be issued in order for them to go lower. Couple things to call out. The canopy height has not been provided, but the building height is a max of 46 feet, which is compliant with the regulations, but we'd need the canopy height to know for sure. In the review, in your latest review, it indicates that we don't know the impervious coverage. I clarified with the applicant, even though they did amend the impervious coverage layout, the percent actually stayed the same. So it is still 74, so we do know that. The site's relatively flat. There's wetlands on the east side. There are 672 trees on site that were surveyed, of which 454 are dedicated for removal. 17 of those are landmark trees. In our ordinance, it does indicate that removal of landmark trees should be rare and only after all alternative site configurations have been explored. There's been some slight rearrangement of the site configuration that has spared some trees, but it's marginal. And woodlots over 1 acre do qualify under the zoning ordinance for a site investigation report if the planning commission chooses to require such. And that would have to detail how the proposed project impacts the environmental features. And it's all to go on with preserving the natural features that we value in our zoning ordinance. There is also 88 truck and trailer parking spaces that are proposed on the west side of the property with those storage canopies. We don't have the elevations for those canopies. There are some like example photos that were included in the site plan package, but not actual proposed elevations. And as I mentioned, it's also missing the height. The applicant did provide a land split / site distance review from the County Road Commission. This is not a permit for a proposed driveway, but it is essentially a document saying that they would approve the permit if the applicant pursued that. So that would be required if the site plan were to be approved. As I've said, the parking spaces, they are insufficient. There are 31 spaces provided, and 94 are required by the standards of the zoning ordinance. The elevations, they've provided pretty detailed proposed elevations to demonstrate the facade articulation that they're proposing, and the Planning Commission should consider how this alternative facade, even though it does not include masonry construction, would fit within the intentions of the ordinance. I do want to note that the elevations on the front of the building include like fake overhead doors, which is not typically what we would want on the front facade. So something to consider. Definitely ask the applicant more questions about the elevations. The lighting plan is compliant. The illumination is compliant. There's 13 pole-mounted lights, 28 wall-mounted lights. We have recommended that they consider lowering the color temperature. They've indicated that they're not interested in doing that. The landscaping is compliant for most of the areas except for the interior parking lot landscaping. We've had some conversations about what constitutes a landscape island. The landscape plans that you see does not include landscape islands as required by the zoning ordinance. And the zoning ordinance does use language specifically saying that it can't be landscaping along the perimeter of the parking lot. It has to actually be an island. And of course, I'll defer to Rick for stormwater management, utilities, any other thoughts that he has. But in just one moment, sorry, Rick. Special land use considerations. This is a two-parter, so that's why it's hefty. There are special approval use standards that should be discussed similarly to the rezonings that we just did. I do have some suggestions in your review that you have before you. I'm not going to talk through them now because I know you've all read it, but I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, Rick.
All right, Rick, your turn.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The latest plan that we had examined was dated January 8th. Our biggest concern with this plan is the stormwater management. It's not meeting township requirements for allowable discharge or for the size of the sediment forebay, and I don't know if a basin with the required revisions will fit within the footprint that is offered. I'd like to see a revised plan before we would be able to recommend site plan approval.
Okay. Well, there seems to be a lot of things missing here. So, gentlemen, we have a busy evening. Give you 15 minutes. What can you present us that we've not already seen in this comprehensive, exhaustive package of information?
Thank you, Chris. First of all, we do have masonry on the building. I brought some examples to show that you can hold in your hands, things like that, and see. So the buildings on the site plan, if you notice, they are, all the mini storage has 4-foot-high masonry. The main building has it on each corner. We also are going to use a stucco style panel as well. So this will kind of give you an idea as, obviously it's very crude, but this will at least give you an idea. So we do have masonry on the buildings. As far as the lights go, we didn't say no to the lights. We followed the township's code. So the code, exactly what the code says is exactly what we've done with the lights to comply with the lights. So as far as the stormwater, Rick, thank you. I'm glad you're up here today. So I do know we are waiting on still some more comments from you. We have been, so again, we intend to comply with that 100%. So again, as we interpret the code, planning commission can make final call as far as the masonry construction. We feel that the building has been it's very pleasing to the eye, the design of the building, it's unique. As far as the trees go, we are actually saving just shy of 200 trees that are already on the site currently. And we're planting another 198 trees that is in our landscape plan. So that is just shy of 400 trees that are going to remain on the site. We intend to keep this as pretty and as green as it can be.
Some other things to add. So we have extensively reworked the site plan multiple times. They're not minor tweaks, in my opinion. So a couple things I do want to point out. We started this process months ago. This has been a very long process for us, and whether we misunderstood the direction or not, we wanted to get in front of you folks to present who we are, what we're trying to develop, what we bring to a community, and try to get a temperature on if we're welcomed in this community or not. Somehow, it went from one direction of let's get a temperature to a $200,000 bill that I've written to give you guys what you see today. And we still have 4 or 5 outstanding items that we keep getting added every time we submit a new set of plans to comment. So we are more than willing to work with the township. We want to. It's a moving target. There's a lot of things that we're not really sure what we're trying to accomplish until after the fact. Then it takes 2 or 3 weeks to get the comments back, and we have to redo the process. So we want to be here. There's a need here. You guys just talked about the one prior to us of the same use. The need is here in this community. I'm a local resident. I've been in the state for my whole life. Scott is also local. We do a good job with our properties. We hear everything that was brought to us. We try to do our best to run the business and also give the community what they're looking for. So really what we wanted to do is get in front of you guys to get some feedback. That was really it, because then I can go back and pinpoint exactly what it is that we need to work on. Or if there's no chance and we're not wanted, then I really wish I would have saved $200,000 to that point and everyone's time. We got an owner that's ready to go. So we're at your guys' mercy, and I'm open to anything. There has been a lot of work put into this. There really has been. And I don't want it to come across that it hasn't been, but the first time we saw you guys was a very brief interaction. There wasn't really much. We didn't get to really talk about our process because we didn't have a site plan. We didn't know we needed that. I don't know how we got on the docket without it. But here we are today. So what you have is what you have, and there's already actually a rendition after that. So to touch on the canopy heights, that has been addressed. It's 14 feet on the canopy heights. We do have renderings of those as well. I actually don't know what packet we actually have that we're looking at because there's,
I'm not certain, page 41, these are your elevations.
I believe it is the most. To address the parking as well, folks, is 96 parking spaces. I understand the calculation in the code. So our business is different than some other of the square footage that would be normally on this site. Our customers, generally, we have 31 trips to our site a day. That isn't a 12-hour day. Whereas if you're at a hotel, you could be upwards of 900 in a day. If I have 96 folks at my store, it's insane. I must be giving away things for free. I must be handing out winning lottery tickets. And I know it's sort of a joke, but to stripe out 96 spaces that's never going to be used is a waste of time, ultimately money, and it's not aesthetically pleasing. It's just stripes. Now, we can put that in, absolutely. We're willing to put in more parking spaces. They will never be used by the customer. I can almost guarantee.
I can keep going, but if there's, I'd
There's
rather
so much more.
answer whatever questions that might come of the commission. So
That's probably a good idea.
Appreciate the time.
Let's start with this. I've gotten plans before us before that are Ts are crossed and Is are dotted, and we say, thanks for coming in.
Sure.
Have a great day, good luck with your building. There are so many things, I got a list of 17 things here that we're waiting for. Of course, some of those items are taken care of already. This was written a few days ago. It just seems, it feels like it hasn't been fully thought through yet. Let's go to commissioners. Dwayne, your comments or any questions you'd like to ask them?
Can you identify yourselves? I don't know who you guys are.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Dwayne, Jeff Stefani, I'm the area district president for U-Haul.
I'm Scott Baker. I'm the marketing company president for Southeast Michigan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So, as I read, all of these issues, the 17 issues that our chairman's acknowledged, they come from professional folks like Carlisle Wortman. Can there be, yeah, and CES, can there be any further confusion? What clarity do you need to move forward? I'm just
Speaking to the 17
stunned.
items, and I'm sorry to step up.
Go ahead.
But of those 17 items, how many are actual action items? Most of them are consider, explore, very vague words like that. There's nothing in there, any code that we need to meet other than the parking code, which I'll agree to, sure. But we will meet those codes, but the consider, explore, we've considered them, we've explored them. We've had a whole real estate team work out the site plans for us, architects. This is the least impactful site plan we could come up with, that our company could still use this property for what it's intended for, i.e. storage.
So I'm just going to pick on one point.
Sure.
What's your problem changing the color of the lights?
Yeah, drop it down a little warmer, right? 3,500 is no big deal. It's these things that we're seeing
So
that we wonder.
On the, Dwayne, there is no problem with dropping the color down to the light. First, we never said we would not. It reads, would you consider? We've had one discussion on this, and it was, we will take that in consideration. That's how we left it. To me, that, are you asking or are you telling? Because if you're telling, then we understand what we have to do. That's how we took that comment specifically. Some of the other issues, Dwayne, is we are on our at least fourth rendition of comments, and it has grown. It hasn't shrank. New items keep being added, so we started with this process on a special use for one item that is not allowed by right on the property. That's how we started this adventure. It was described to us to let's go for that first before you invest a bunch of money to see if you can even get that part that would complement your business. That's what we attempted at first. Then we got to, well, you need a full set site plan. That's what you folks asked for. Understood. We went back. We spent the money. We lost all that time in the meantime. So we basically started day one, that first meeting we came to you guys, asking for a site plan. We went back, had the site plan engineered. We got the site plan. Then we went through comments. Then we addressed comments. Then we went through more comments. We addressed comments. There's been quite a few renditions of this. I'm worried, Dwayne, that's never going to end, is kind of where it's at, without even getting a temperature. So it's not that we're steadfast, digging our heels in, that we're saying no to any of this. It was more or less, is this even have a chance before we get, I don't know how much longer 17 more comments is going to take us to get to on 4 renditions. And this is no knock on Michelle. She's worked with us. This is no knock on the commissioner themselves. It's the time that we keep losing. And that's how we are where we are today. So to your light question, that still doesn't read, this is the code, you're not meeting the code. It was a request, and we left it on, we'll take that in consideration. There was 3 of those items that are consideration items, I believe. I think solar panels was another one.
So I can appreciate where you're coming from. I can tell you that I'm involved with industry in this township, and I think, personally, I think this organization, U-Haul, has a great reputation, and we'd love to see it come into town, okay?
Yes, sir.
Having said that, we have these paid professionals to work with us, to work with our citizens, and to work with, in your U-Haul branding, it says partners with communities. So there's a partnership that needs to be built here.
Sure.
And we can't live with ambiguity. We need to be clear.
Respect that.
So change the lights. That's your first step, right? Easy. Just say, yes, you're going to do that. And then go through the list.
Let's get a little more towards how welcome we are to the idea of this. What issues we may have with the general idea of this. To start off with, it appears that the market is somewhat saturated in that 3 to 5 mile radius for rentals of trucks and trailers. We don't know that that's needed right now. What other thoughts do we have? Is this something, are they cutting down too many trees? Are they making it too much parking lot? What are we feeling? Sarah, what do you feel when you look at the stuff? Are they on the right track here?
I think they're on the right track. I think that they still have to answer some of these concerns and these 17 questions. The cutting down 200 trees, but planting 198 is still a nice trade-off, keeping it green. The lighting, they can change the lighting easily.
I hope so.
Otherwise I think that they have some minor work to do that we need to see addressed.
Larry, your thoughts?
As far as what you're proposing, the idea is, I am not at all opposed to that.
I like it.
I am not at all opposed to the special approval uses that you're looking for. I would like to see that move forward. I spent a lot of time trying to decipher the plans. And I
I did too.
found drawings that showed that the mini storage row behind the 3-story building was 30 feet from the building. I found on some drawings it was 40 feet from the building. I found on some drawings that it extended all the way to the north border. I found on some drawings that it was kind of in the middle of the property. I couldn't find dimensions on the mini storage buildings, the length. I know what the square footage is, but I don't see any details on what the size of the buildings are. I don't see the size of the canopies for the RVs. That being said, I think if you knuckle under and do some detailed engineering on these plans, we probably have a ways to go. Regarding my personal opinion, regarding the surface materials for the exterior of the buildings, I am very hesitant to not stick with our requirement for masonry siding, especially since in a recent case, we sent someone back to the drawing board for that very reason. And if we don't follow through here,
We won't have to follow through.
that will be it.
May I ask a question to that, Larry?
Yes, please.
So some of the confusion too is the way the code may read on the masonry material for storage units. All storage units need to be made of masonry material. In our specific situation, we're offering multiple different products throughout the project. I'm reading this as the drive-up storage units is what needs to comply with the masonry requirement, not the buildings. Is that how?
Partial. The storage units need complete 100% around all the sides of the buildings to be masonry type material. The front, or that part of the building that faces the roads.
Okay.
Needs to be 100% masonry material
Of all buildings?
in these districts, in these zoning districts. And that's the way our code is written.
Okay.
Is this similar to what we'd be looking at on the screen?
That's what was provided.
No.
That's in your, let's say your sales
That's in the sustainability.
brochure.
This packet, we have,
Okay, I'm just wondering, I've got one back here. Yeah, like that, so I have that here too. So what it appears is is like a U-Haul branded design, something that is consistent, I imagine, in different communities,
yes, sir.
so that it's, let's say, recognizable or something.
Yes, sir.
Well, perhaps that's not what we're envisioning. I mean, I know that's what you want to make, but that's not what we envision here.
So, okay.
I'm going to draw attention to one of your slides that caught my eye. Nope, not there. 67. Here. U-Haul Sustainable Development Green Building. It reads at the top, "We are committed to sustainable development through environmental protection, social responsibility, and economic efficiency." Environmental protection is what we call keep our landmark trees. You know, that's a big deal to us. Down on the bottom, on the very left side, it says permeable ground cover. You're covering the whole thing with asphalt. So some of these things, it's like, who are you selling this to? Because this doesn't work with this plan. Did you have more, Larry? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
We're kind of back and forth, which is okay.
No,
Audrey,
I'm good.
Michael, would you like to give us your thoughts?
I think one of the things that we can do better for you is we can be a little bit more direct with what we're looking for, but we have limitations,
Sure.
legal limitations.
Sure, I
as
understand.
to what we can say or suggest. But reading between the lines, if we're asking you to consider doing whatever, personally, I would take that as an ask. So, you know, that's just a thought, staying within the legal framework that we have to. But I have a question for you, and if this is what the proposed facility is going to look like on that piece of property, what's going to differentiate your facility from the other 6 facilities within a 5-mile radius?
The other storage facilities?
Well, other U-Haul facilities?
We have one. and it's a dealership, in Brighton, that would be D&H Auto. And Phil's been a partner of ours for 35 years, and he has a dealership, which is what our company was built on, was partnering with small business owners. I'm sorry, we do also have a pawn shop up Old US 23 as well. Those are also dealerships, so that is their personal business. It has nothing to do with our design. We don't have any input on the design for their businesses. We also don't, all that we stipulate is that if they have our equipment, that it's clean and it's displayed, not parked. We don't park trucks. Their business is to do with as they see fit for their own.
So that's a good segue, what you brought up about parking your trucks. It's my understanding there's been quite a bit of discussion on whether or not your truck shall be displayed in front of the building. And that is something that,
You mean like signage? Almost?
essentially parking them in the front of the building as like a storage. Now they're ready for use, I get that, but it's not an appealing look in my mind. Something that needs to be reconsidered. Personally, I agree with you on the parking spots, that there probably could be, based on what you're doing, something that could be done that, but that would have to be looked at in the whole of the facility. But I've expressed that desire or expressed that concern earlier. I think the biggest thing that I'm concerned with is I keep seeing, as I'm looking through this amount of information here, does not comply, needs to do this, does not comply, does not have approval of. So I think what you need to do is sit down with the likes of Larry, sit down with the likes of Deb, and have an honest meeting. These are the deficiencies that we have found in your submittal. You need to go back and correct those deficiencies before you can move forward. We have made a decision at the planning commission level and at the board level that there's no more tentative approvals, that type of thing. Have it ready to rock and roll when you walk in the door. And if you need to go back and adjust, we will help you go back and point out the things that you need to adjust. But pointing them out again and again isn't going to get you anywhere. So if I was in your shoes, I'd be making an appointment with a couple members on this planning commission and sitting down and going over that and saying, go back and correct this, and then come and see us again.
Thank you, Michael. Is that allowed?
Of course it's allowed.
Not, with 3 of us can't, 4 of us can't.
No,
meet.
4 of us can't, but you can sit down with somebody of Larry's skills, or even,
2 of us can go to lunch with you, so we just can't meet as a
we don't
quorum.
do, we're not gonna, no, you're not gonna take us to lunch.
No lunch.
Are you
I'll buy you
still wanting
coffee.
the approval or
Okay,
denial
we'll buy
tonight?
them coffee.
Right,
I just don't want the wrong impression.
right.
Yeah.
No, we're not, right.
I'm very sensitive to
Because
that.
before you asked in the meeting for an approval or
But-
denial, so you
but
know which way
Those
to
are
go.
mini
You
storage.
I
You're denying us.
I think we can help
wouldn't
you.
have to deny you, because you wouldn't. meet
Let's
the
let Deb
standards,
finish
That's what I'm asking. So if you're wanting them to make a motion so you can go to the zoning board of appeals, you have to have a denial first. So that's why, that's the only way you can go. So,
See where we are? So we may like the idea, but we cannot move forward with such incomplete site plans, or not in all good conscience. We understand your dilemma of things, you see a running list of things to be fixed. Well,
Sure.
let's make that a definitive list of things that need to be fixed, that it's finite.
I understand. I'm trying to process, so we were told we were going to be denied no matter what today. So I'm not sure the question. We were told we were going to be denied because we have to go to ZBA anyway for the parking variance. I'm also a little taken back by, I would love to meet with any one of you, because I believe you can say something, I then can go build it right away. That was not an option. So I'm just trying to process right now, because that would make this 1 million times smoother. If I can hear what your concerns on and I can take it back and build on it. That is why we're here today. That's what I thought we were here for the first time. So I did not know that's an option. Now that it's publicly an option, I would like to entertain that option.
Mr. Chairman, may I interject?
Please.
I do want to clarify that meeting with planning commissioners is not any type of formal process that would have been made available. That would have to be something that would be volunteered by individual commissioners. That's why Rick and I are here doing the reviews that we do. And we are employed by the township to give sage advice. So hopefully
And we listen to them.
yes.
We listen to them very
We
carefully.
do. So whatever they've told you should have already been the fine line. Now, we can go back over this again with even Michelle and Rick and see what we can do to make this more finite.
And to further clarify the procedure, as we've told you in meetings, because this does not meet the requirements of the ordinance for parking, this body is not enabled to give an approval because there's no discretion from the planning commission permitted for parking. So a denial is inevitable.
Correct.
However, it would behoove, and the reason you all came before the planning commission and wanted to hear from them is to see if there was any other reasons aside from just the parking that they had issue with the plan or with the special approval use. And so
Correct.
that is why this is an absolute requirement. So I see you frustrated, but this would be the only path forward to meet before them.
I agree with you there, Michelle. So yes, we knew that. And again, it was the feedback that we were seeking. So
Are you in a better place? We keep
I
trying
can't
with
wait to
this.
set up a meeting with whoever is
keep-
willing to set up the
Keep trying
meeting.
this. We'll find a volunteer.
Michelle and Larry, perhaps?
Yeah.
Michelle and Larry would be a good choice.
And,
That would be an
and in the
extremely-
meantime, a few of us can speak with Larry or Michelle separately and give them our concerns
Sure.
because it doesn't need to be a group meeting. We need a representative, let's say.
And Chris, we do these all over the state, and every municipality is different.
Sure.
And I'm not telling you guys how to run it, but there's just different ways of doing it. I've had pre-apps, I've had meetings before with commissioners, and we kind of work hand in hand to build what it is the end product's gonna be. So, I hear you guys loud and clear, and yes, Michelle, I knew that we were never gonna, because the parking can't be, you guys can't weigh on that, and we understand that. So I would just like to streamline it and give you guys what you're looking for with your feedback, so we don't have to keep somewhat guessing. I hear the 17 things loud and clear.
Whatever the number is. It's
Yes.
just, you know what I mean?
Could
We
be
need-
more right now.
If it comes before us with everything crossed and dotted, great. You
Understood.
know, and then if we need to decide if we need to make a variation of something, then so be it, you know?
Yes, sir.
May I make a quick recommendation? Since there are two items that there is planning commission discretion for, instead of having us talk on the back end about what I think the planning commission's appetite is for those items, which there is discretion, perhaps the commission can give direct feedback to the applicant now, so we're not behind the scenes.
Guessing.
Yeah. And that's the 6-foot berm or similar screening and the facade. So if they could get some direction on whether or not there's
So what do we?
appetite for what they're proposing.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Michelle. So what do we think about the screening? So we have, where did you propose to put it? Only around the west side of the RV storage, was it? Gentlemen, that's okay.
Asking the 6-foot.
Burning our fence or something you were gonna put around the back, around the storage area only? Not on the north and south or east side?
So the intention was, in the landscaping plan, the landscaping would be the screening, the trees, the 200 trees would actually go around the facility. It shows on the landscaping, it's pretty comprehensive of the trees and shrubs that would screen it. So that would be in lieu of building the berm to put trees up on the berm.
And so the compliance issue is whether it's 6 feet tall of earth? Michelle?
Correct.
It can be fence or earth?
I'll read the exact wording if that,
I don't wanna,
of the requirement of the ordinance. 6-foot screen, fence, berm, or other appropriate method shall be constructed around the perimeter. So it's not that it has to be
So screen,
It doesn't have to be,
It can be trees,
can be
it can
trees.
be anything.
it's not, but if you look at the landscape plan, I don't know what sheet it would show up here, but it's not around the entire perimeter. And they've indicated that they want that deviation, so.
So would that again be, and I'm just asking this question so that I have clarity, would that again be a ZBA issue?
No,
That is something that we can,
you have discretion.
we have discretion in that.
to approve a site plan without 6-foot screening all the way around all edges
Right.
is our discretion.
Doesn't have to be in the roadside, the front side, correct?
It has to be around the entire perimeter. So basically, the question is the landscape plan that they are proposing good with you?
Where are you?
Good luck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I
Right.
can
I might
identify
have-
with that.
See, I was under the impression,
Keep talking.
that's my fault, that we needed it or I was a little confused on that because we had moved away from that a little bit at another facility on 10 Mile, if you recall right.
They,
So-
yeah, they actually put in tall, or, I
Yes.
haven't checked to see if the trees are there, but they
And they
put
are.
in 8 and 9 foot
Yeah.
type
They
size
put tall
trees
trees in to begin with.
to
Yep, to fill
achieve
it
the
in.
to achieve the screening
Yep.
that we were trying.
They followed through.
Yes.
So is this landscape plan that I should be looking at? I know it's up on a screen and not so easy to see.
Yes.
Could make it a little bit bigger. So you're showing large trees around the, let's see, we're starting at the north side here. Oopsie, I used the wrong cursor. There we go, got it. I got a mouse. So the north side, and what is on that north side right now?
Oxford,
That's the Oxford
Oxford,
hyperbaric,
yeah.
right? Okay, and then you got around the back side and the west side.
What is against the west side?
that's
In the west side is
research office,
trees.
that's research office,
Yeah,
that
but
was,
what's there right now?
nothing. That was.
Okay, so that's the land that was talked about,
Right.
That was going to be the
The
apartment
apartments.
Part of the
complex,
apartment.
okay,
but that's now reverted back to a research office.
correct, but it still could come in.
Correct.
And when we talked to them about doing the apartments, we said to them, and I recall this, is that we know that that's a vacant piece of property and that it'll eventually be developed, but you're the applicant now and you'll need to put the screening up. So that would be my answer to you as well. We know the parcel to the west is vacant, but you're the one making the application now. So the screening needs to be on the west side, complete as in the ordinance.
To achieve the amount of
Correct.
opacity that we're looking for.
Now, if that means that whoever comes into that property later on gets a free ride because they don't have to put up the screening because it's on your property, well, that was the same thing that we said to the other applicant when they came in. So we're being fair.
Totally understand.
The light gray tree symbols are existing? If I'm correct, without going to the key or anything? The darker ones are new plants?
Experts coming.
Hi. So if I may, my name's
your
John
name?
Ackman with Kimley Horn. We're the engineers, landscape architects for this plan, so I figured I'd step in because these guys keep turning around and looking at me. So can I just point?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So yes, all of the light gray circles are the trees that are existing and staying. What we don't show on this plan, we show it otherwise, is the landmark trees that are all being preserved. They're in a different color on one of the earlier sheets. But there is a significant landscape buffer all the way around here, and then you see the darker trees are all a mix of evergreens and deciduous trees that are interlaced in between the existing trees to help buffer and continue that buffer. You don't want to burn, because if you burn, you have to take all those trees out, put the berm in, it just defeats the purpose.
Agreed.
And the same thing with fences, with the footings and foundations for the fencing all around. So we totally hear you guys when you say tree preservation. So what we're trying to do is just maximize it. So all the trees that are required that address the trees that are being removed, all the replacement trees are being proposed on the property instead of being put into a fund or anything else. So shoehorn might be a pretty good term here. There's a lot of trees on this.
Cram them in.
Now, I can tell you, the front is a majority of the trees, because this is the goal of this business is to have a curb appeal from the front, so it's not completely screened like you get on the south, north, and west sides, but there's still a substantial landscaping amongst all the trees, including a lot of landmark trees that are being preserved out there as well.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're all pretty okay with that.
Where?
That's not a big issue. One other issue that we had, that we found was parking lot, landscaping in the parking lot. There needs to be, islands or something like that. Don't we have nothing, or
So-
besides the front?
We did, Michelle and I, we talked about this as far as what, and this plan is not the most recent plan, now that I'm looking at it, because this plan still shows, we've taken out all of this right here and added some trees along here, and saved actually a couple more trees in this area. So this isn't the latest and greatest, it's close.
Okay.
But we talked about this, there's a significant island that juts out up front, up here, that meets the overall requirements for parking. So that will be one of the parking lot islands. And that does meet the intent of the ordinance.
Okay.
So is that mini storage that is in the middle of the property, is that gone? Is that,
No, it's still here, it's on the back side, so there's actually a security
Yeah, it's
fence
on the
that comes
ground.
around and encloses where the RV storage is. And this portion of the mini storage is on that side. So this is now all green in here, and this is all paved.
Okay.
And I guess I wanted to point one thing out now. One of the previous slides about having impervious surface or pervious surface, I actually had a quick conversation with Rick about seeing if we could do gravel or something that's more pervious back here, but it's not allowed.
No, it has to be
It
paved.
has to be, right, so that's why you mentioned the asphalt, we explored that opportunity, but we just couldn't do it because of county and township requirements.
What are we at, 77%, you said?
74.
4% impervious surfaces.
There's
We're
asphalt that's pervious, isn't there?
asphalt that's pervious?
Yeah, it has, it's built that way.
I'm not the engineer.
So we've,
I think there is.
Rick is.
there is, but the problem is, you don't get credit for it here, and from a maintenance perspective, it clogs up in a year, and it doesn't work up here because of the salt and the sediment and
Oh,
everything
okay.
else.
All right.
There's been lots of case studies and trials. I lived in Florida for 8 years, and there's a lot of it down there. It doesn't work up in the northern climates.
Okay.
Rick, was there a question about whether the forebay and the drainage would be sufficient?
I don't know. Based on the latest plan I saw. And John, I'm not clear if I've got the latest plan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next time I get a packet, I want the newest stuff right here.
So I know, Rick, you had asked for a set of plans, and we delivered a set of plans to the township for you. But I
Okay.
don't know I don't know what you're looking at. We can
They
talk.
may well be in here, Deb, to your,
I mean, there's.
I'm sure they are, if I can find them.
pages there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I know.
Okay, what else was a
siding is the other one
siding?
we have discretion on.
I don't want to move on that.
I don't want to move as much as what you have on that. That's almost too much for us. What can you do in between there? Higher masonry, more of it, less of the
We walked away,
PVC?
I just want to warn you, we walked away from partial masonry on the previous applicant,
Two previous,
two previous, yes.
two previous.
Can
And
you-
I am very,
Well,
I'm more than hesitant to.
I'm not going to move on
Yeah,
that.
to,
We'd like you to come up with a material that meets this standard. It's perhaps not to your liking, that it's not going to look like a U-Haul branded facility.
Yeah, so
We
it-
understand that.
so it's the mini storage buildings, the little narrow guys, all masonry, and the fronts facing the road, so the two large buildings.
Okay, just
And-
the fronts, east side of those.
Just here and here.
Correct.
East side.
These, no problem. These
Those
are easy.
Those
Those are
are,
easy.
yeah, those should be easy.
Okay.
Not an argument there, so just the fronts of these two buildings.
That's the letter of our zoning.
It's the letter of the law.
I believe we can achieve the fronts. In just masonry type.
Yeah, per how our ordinance is written, I don't have it memorized.
Michelle does. I know.
Stone, brick, decorative block, or material approved by the planning commission, which is material that looks like
Looks
stone,
like
brick,
stone,
decorative
brick, or
block.
So what we had,
The dark stuff that looks like stone, yeah.
Okay.
Or brick or block, sure.
Yep, that's fine.
You show us
Yep, the other stuff. not
an
my
el-
ta-
an
not my
elevation that
taste.
shows it, or a drawing that shows it.
yep. But
Okay,
the
so-
other three sides can be typical building materials or,
Make them look good. Yeah, I mean, like that is fine, right?
It'd be
Yeah.
nice not to see pole barn siding on them.
Not OSB or,
no. No.
okay, well then I think we're in a much better place. And I think we've given you so much better direction, okay?
Yeah.
So for now, we need to conduct our business and make a motion to approve or deny the site plan.
May I ask a question, Chris? Does that
Please.
affect us in any way, or would it be more beneficial for us to table ourselves?
Can we
We can,
table it?
we should be able to move to table.
Yeah, why
The-
can't we date?
The issue with
Still gonna have to be
tabling,
denied.
yes,
You're
is,
still gonna have to be denied
And-
regardless.
yeah, if you can't comply with the parking, it will be denied whether or not you pull the application and come back. Unless there is a change to the zoning text,
Not gonna happen.
if you think. Right.
Denial is not a one-year wait period?
No.
Okay,
No, you're not cut off at the foot, no.
okay.
If they get denied, they can't go back to the zoning board of appeals and ask for a variance. So if you get denied at the zoning board of appeals, they cannot go back, they have to wait 1 year.
At the ZBA. but not
ZBA,
here.
yes. I'm just talking to you
That's
folks right now.
That'd be after the fact, though.
I have to get through
Yeah,
you
they-
to get to them.
Correct.
They have to be approved before they can go to the CBA.
Right.
It'd have to be denied.
Denied.
Well, no, I have to be denied to get to them.
I'm sorry,
I
denied.
like your thought process.
I went crazy. They have to be denied before they can go to the CBA.
All right. We're all on the same page. We can move forward with this. There are ways to do it. We need you to bring us a complete set of stuff that we'll help talk to you about
Could,
and make sure.
could we talk just a little bit to help them hear from us about the special use approval?
Yes.
Which is separate.
Well, we could wait till the next.
Well, if,
They're here.
let me say,
here.
if we're thinking of denying it, I would rather tell them that today, you know, we're thinking of denying the special use approvals. Or, as I stated during my section, I have no problem with the special use approval for these issues that you're looking at. I certainly want to have a good, clean site plan. But I think we can approve or recommend approval of a special approval use at this point,
Okay,
but not the site plan.
understood, Larry.
Okay.
That was the quest from day one, so I appreciate that.
I don't know that we can deny the special approval use without the site plan. We gotta
Okay.
have a current site plan, so,
You have to have one before the other.
correct. We have to have a site plan that we've approved before
Okay.
we can specially
And-
approve use.
I think you can gather by the way we're speaking that that's not gonna be an issue.
Understood, too. Yes,
Does that help?
yes, that does tremendously help. At the end of the day, this is $18 million investment. We're already 200,000 in. I can't keep going if there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
We know, and we like investments. We are also trying to stick to the details, so.
Totally respect that, too.
Okay. All right, well, do you have any other thoughts, Audrey? What are you thinking? Any other questions for them? Over here? Anything we missed?
A lot, but I
in your
think I'm
head?
good.
Okay. I know it can fly around quick. And Dwayne, anything more?
I'm ready to do a motion.
Michael, I need you back here.
Just give me a second, I'm trying to clarify something.
I'm trying to conduct business.
Trying to get a meeting here.
Leave it happen last time. The site plan now. He wanders off.
Yeah,
They're denying it.
what's that?
If they're denying it now.
They need
We're
94.
gonna have at this facility.
94 required, 37.
10 to 15.
10 to 15 on a regular basis.
I don't know. I didn't count them.
Okay.
I need a motion.
Approve the special land use, deny the site plan.
Wait.
Then we go to ZBA to get that process.
Dwayne,
Ready?
your turn. Okay.
Is Mike back?
Mike's
I think
back.
he's ready.
I just need
Done
some
whispering.
technicalities cleared up
Okay.
about some future things.
So I make a motion to deny the site plan application for U-Haul Americo Real Estate Company on parcel number 4716-08-100-022, based upon the following findings. Site plan does not comply with section 38-312 of the zoning ordinance regulating the required number of parking spaces. Number two, the site plan does not comply with section 38-196, parentheses, 21C of the zoning ordinance regulating perimeter screening. Number three, the site plan does not comply with section 38-196, parentheses, 21G of the zoning ordinance regulating the exterior wall construction of all buildings in the limited industrial zoning district. And finally, number four, the site application omits details required by section 38-71, parentheses 3, of the zoning ordinance. And number five, the stormwater management plan does not meet township requirements.
We have a motion.
Support.
We have support. Kelly, roll call vote.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Site plan denied, but good conversations, gentlemen. Let's move on to the next one.
Appreciate the time.
You stay right there for now. Item 7D, approval or denial.
Mr. Chairperson?
Yes, sir.
Can we have a 2-minute recess?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Recess.
Okay.
All right, item 7D, approval or denial on special approval use for number 4716, sorry, parcel 4716-08-100-022 for U-Haul Americo Real Estate Company. Their property is zoned limited industrial. The parcel is 9.77 acres.
It's 10 well.
Mr. Chairman,
10.01 acres?
we're missing a member.
Where'd we go? Oh, we missed Sarah? Oh, sorry.
You
I
said
looked
till-
around.
Yeah, you said till 25 after.
Okay, we'll give Sarah a minute. And then I'll repeat myself, gladly.
Pardon? Say what?
He can read.
I can read.
Wants to steal your thunder.
If you got it, go for it.
It's pretty simple.
Sarah's back.
Yeah, I thought I was.
Again, item 7D, 7D. I'll bet. We're back in session. Sarah's here.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, please.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone further action on the item until the applicant submits complete and compliant.
Support.
We have a motion, we have support,
Excuse me,
discussion.
I couldn't hear that last 5, 6, 7 words, please.
Okay. My motion is to postpone action on this item until such time as the applicant submits complete and compliant plans.
I hear you.
Kelly, roll
Already
call
had the
vote, please.
support on that one. You got that, Kel? Yeah, that's my name.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Let's keep this professional.
Yeah, always. Gotta
Okay.
have fun, guys.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, appreciate the time,
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
appreciate that.
I could talk to you.
As Costco will tell you.
There's no light there.
Business item 7E, Costco gas station relocation. Recommend approval or denial to the Township Board for the proposed amendment to the planned unit agreement for Costco number 4716-20-100-003. NIP. Oh, that was all, yeah, I got that all wrong. It's dash 074076040. Kelly, you got that?
Yeah, it's
Good
correct.
thing.
It's correct on this.
Good thing. Okay, stay with me. Find the right page. Carlisle Wortman. Okay, here's where we stand. Shoot, that's on, this is it. Our job here was, after it went to the Township Board, the conditional approval of the planned unit development amendment was granted by the Township Board of Trustees, subject to an external traffic study provided to and approved by the township and township planner. That being said, the township planner said, we believe that this condition of preliminary approval for the planned unit development amendment has therefore been satisfied. I'm gonna save you some time, Michelle, because we've been all over this. Rick?
Yes.
Do you need any time?
We have some minor items that can be cleaned up on the engineering plan, but they're in substantial compliance.
Now, I did my best to go through this thing. I gleaned a couple things. Dwayne gleaned a couple different things. Somebody else, I'm sure, gleaned a couple of different things. All I saw was that East Costco entrance is already a mess and will be further a mess. But you can't put in a traffic light because it's only 450 feet away. And so that's neither here nor there. That's the biggest thing I gleaned out of it. Dwayne, what did you glean?
There will be less traffic, less trips, 1.3 something %.
And you guys said that
And
before.
that's good.
Your internal traffic study said that before. that
Amazing.
Trip development would be less.
Thank you.
Incredible. Sarah, anything?
No,
You know how to read a traffic study?
I've seen a million times.
Larry?
I've been on here 20 years.
Happy anniversary.
It was it a year?
I see yesterday was your 1 year from your original submittal.
Happy
Your
anniversary.
application. February
Was
5th.
it really?
February
Has
5th.
it been a year, really?
A year and a day.
Happy birthday.
A year and a day.
What do you got to say? for
It has
yourself,
been a year.
Larry,
Yeah.
A year later.
A heck of a year.
And welcome. You are a new commissioner. I don't believe we've met.
Me?
No,
Oh, no, I've been.
Commissioner, oh,
I'm
we,
sorry, I've
I'm
been
like,
here.
well, I lost a little weight, but.
no, Chairman, no, I
Oh,
don't
my
recall
God.
speaking with Commissioner Marshall, but Larry Jurczyk again with Costco Real Estate. We're very excited to be here tonight, of course, as you could well imagine. We're here to answer any questions. As Rick said, and as Michelle mentioned in her report, we believe we've satisfied all our requirements that we discussed over the last 4 or 5 Plan Commission hearings and at the township level, board level. And we are, Rick, we are addressing your comments now, and we're looking at a resubmittal in the next couple of weeks. I know our construction and gas team, they're ready to submit within the next couple of weeks as well. So we are ready to move ahead with this project. Costco is very excited. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
I think we're done with this.
Since we already recommended approval contingent on the traffic study, and they met the traffic
And they
study,
met the traffic
I
study.
don't, do we have to say we recommend approval again?
Approval or denial to the township board, yeah, because
Yeah.
that
We
means
have to-
that we approve.
That was preliminary, this is final.
Okay.
I'd love to make that motion.
Hit it,
I have a question first.
yes,
How's that exit out of the fueling station coming?
yeah.
Commissioner Sedlock, I will have to tell you that last time we met, we had 2 property owners signed up. We
You
have,
said you said
Well-
that you had 4 of 6.
that is correct. Well, we had 4 verbals. 2 actually signed a document. We have 3 that signed a document. We're expecting number 4. Remember, there's 5 property owners and 6 parcels. So we do need the 5th owner, which is the Hilton Hotel. That is number 5. And
Holiday Inn.
the Holiday, is it the Hilton or is it Holiday Inn?
Holiday.
Holiday Inn, I'm sorry, yep. And so as Mr. Stratus testified at the last board meeting, that is going to be a process with that gentleman because of the way his loan is structured. There's several different lenders that we have to go through. And believe me, our legal team is still pushing forward. I
I'm
think
gonna
we're
be
on,
pushing
we're on
on
attorney
you.
number 3.
I'm going to be pushing on you on this forever.
I
Been
know
what,
that.
18 years, 19 years now?
It's been 20
06.
20 years.
Something like that. We wish it would have been done ahead of time and that there's not a discount tire there, but that's neither here nor there, Captain Hindsight.
It was a separate part when we first did it.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long, involved process. So
It has been,
We thank
Chairman,
you for
yes.
jumping through all our hoops. Anybody got anything more? Dwayne?
Mr. Jenkins.
I propose a motion to recommend approval to the township board for the proposed amendment to the planned unit agreement for Costco on parcel numbers 471605-300-074, 471605-300-076, and finally, 471605-300-040.
Support.
We have support. A roll call vote, please, Kelly.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you
Bye,
very
Larry.
much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. That was the longest one we've seen in a while. But well thought out, well done. A year. Yeah. Well, you can leave when we're done.
We've had longer ones.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
We've had longer than a year.
Yeah.
Consideration, several.
We have.
Yes.
Costco Drive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Aren't the pumps
Yes.
moving?
of course.
Yeah, they're moving the pumps.
There's intent to plan.
Audrey,
Neighbors.
We'll go over that later. Hold on.
I'll show you what
Hold
I,
on, one more item. One more item of business. One more item of business, pardon me. Business item 7F, discussion on joint meeting February 20th at 7 PM with the Township Board. This is set.
Yes.
So this is a time, it will be one of our meetings here.
Next,
We shall discuss who sits at the dais,
Next
or if
week.
it's gonna be round table.
We're
Yeah.
gonna set up.
Yeah, we usually
It's my
put
Thursday
chairs,
night, though.
tables there and just all sit down there.
I wanna have a gavel.
Chris, if that's
Mark
what,
would have
if that's
the
what
gavel.
trips you.
Okay, that's it there.
February 20th, 7 PM.
February 27
It's our
PM.
next meeting.
It would be
Next
our next
regular
meeting, 2 weeks from now. So we're gonna have a joint meeting with them on some items that we need to nail down, that we want their input on. Small houses, right?
We want to
Tiny
talk
houses.
about square footage.
Square footage. And
I think that I understand completely where other members of the board are coming from, but I'm still passionate about the fact that we need to reach some type of resolution, accommodation
we do.
to,
Good night, gentlemen.
to do that
Thank you.
without having the bad things happen.
Right.
And I think
I
if
am
we
too.
talk to the board, we hear their concerns, then we can work with our planners on maybe changing our ordinances, maybe changing what we're doing
We need
to
their help to help
to
us
protect-
craft things
protect
that they can approve.
the issues they have, but still give an opportunity so that we can say, and not so we can say, so that we genuinely can offer opportunities for people to get into houses that are so difficult today.
and in
I feel
addition,
very strongly about that.
in addition to that regulation, Paul, you remember Paul? Paul will be there.
Yeah. Tell them not to mumble and King Kong.
We'll want to discuss like broader visions for 2025, planning priorities with the idea that hopefully we'll be doing a larger zoning ordinance rewrite to take into account this change and some of the many other changes that need to be adopted for whether it's just getting with the times or with removing ambiguity.
And that's another thing that we still need to do, is to go over our priority list of things and see what we have accomplished, what we need to accomplish more. And I don't know if that's the time and place for it.
It'll come more into focus after that meeting.
True.
Yep.
Okay,
So
Oh.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Who wants to set up an agenda, or who wants to send me some ideas of what they want to see?
I'll sit
on the
down
agenda?
with you.
I will not be here
Oh.
on the 20th, but,
Michael, will
How
you
about
help
if I
with
sit
that?
down with you on Monday?
okay. we
You
can do
help,
that.
you help with that?
Yeah, of course I will.
Thank you.
Can
And as I understand that, we should be talking about first housing unit size, and then if each of you would take the time to send me a quick email on things
There you
that are
go.
important to you, I'll sit down with Michelle and Rick to see what's important with you guys, and we'll come up with an agenda that meets their needs, the board's needs, I should say, and also our needs. And Kelly will be here for 16 hours while we.
She already decided she's skipping out.
No.
No,
Because every time that you're not here, I get stuck with taking the meeting minutes. So find me a replacement.
Well, no action items, so.
Oh, okay, you're on the hook.
She's got to record them.
I'm like, wait, I've done it for years.
No.
Do you
At
type them
board
up,
meeting.
though?
As a board meeting, that
Board
might be
meeting.
yours, okay.
And of course, every time I end up taking the minutes, there's 46 roll call votes.
Okay, that's the end of business items. So to reports we go. Chairman's report, Michelle, I'd like to direct you, please, to address Northfield Township on updating their master plan and any of our input.
Looks like it's just standard correspondence as required by the Michigan Plan and Enabling Act.
Thank
We've
you.
intended to plan. If you have any thoughts, you can reach out to them there.
All right.
Good direction.
I was thinking of suggesting that they put a Sheetz gas station on that former
Oh, my goodness.
property down at 8 Mile.
There's 5 issues.
Township Board Representative, Michael, do you have anything?
We had a board meeting last night, went pretty quick. Everything is pretty calm in the township right now, so.
I'm glad. Zoning Board of Appeals representative. Sarah?
We had a meeting after our last meeting. It was just a housekeeping meeting. We elected the officials, and that was it. And
Hey, we need to do that.
and we have 3 applicants for next month.
Three.
Yeah, it's on odd months, so.
Don't we need to do that every year? Reelect?
We did.
We did it this year?
Yeah, you were here.
Yeah.
In
I
summer?
thought it was last year. I don't think we did it this year.
Do you do it in July?
Oh, we did?
Election of officers?
We do them in January
Yeah,
Oh.
December.
December, okay, all right.
or
The
December,
following year.
All right, it's fine.
but we had to call the ZBA in
I'm just
January.
checking.
anyhow.
Seeing
You
if we
guys are
remember.
toes.
I
Planning
think you
consultant.
forgot.
Have you said enough, Michelle? Or? Maybe that came out wrong.
You're not right.
Your input tonight was fantastic. Do you have any more?
That's what I heard, yeah, so you're good.
Okay, very good. Correspondence, Deb, you gave us Northfield, anything else? Call to the public, seeing none, no public. Good job.
Thank you for your input.
Good job, thank